This time on shift points. Again, aviation style, so we got the latch that folds up like this.
Before I'm down, I can't see.
Alright, here's what the outside one looks like. So you can see that big washer there. With brand new seat belts in the back. Alright guys, we took a couple weeks off of the Galaxie working on the Fairlane. You guys have been watching that for the past couple weeks, but now we're back on the Galaxie just for this one video. And it's because the guys and gals over at Retro Manufacturing, they've supplied us with the entire sound system for this car, which turned out really great, and I've been loving it, being able to drive it down the road and listen to some music. The other thing that Retro Manufacturing makes, or the other company that they have, is Retro Belt, and they make seat belts. A lot of different styles of seat belts, shoulder belts, lap belts, a bunch of different ones. They sent us over these guys right here. These are red aviation style lap belts. And the plan is to put these in the back seat of this car. Right now there's just two seat belts in it, the front two for the driver and the passenger, and there's nothing in the back. You guys know I like to take my son with me places, and I would also like for my wife to come with me too. And it's really hard for us to cram all three of us into the front seat, especially with the 4-speed, and plus then Emily doesn't have a seat belt, which isn't the greatest thing. So what we want to do this week is we're going to go under here and we're going to mount up these 3 sets of seat belts and get 3 sets in the back seat, so we can put his car seat in the back, and then she can use the one that's already there in the front when we go on trips and take this thing up Patton Avenue or wherever we're going to go, hoping in the future to be able to take some road trips in this thing. And this kind of opens up that door a lot more, having that, making it a lot easier for him. So they have these seat belt sets like this, and they also have the mounting kits as well. So they come with the big washers, bolts, and nuts, and everything you need to get these things mounted up. Now I've looked online. I don't think, now someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I don't think there was even an option to put seat belts in the back seat of these things. That's just what I have found out. I have looked at some stuff online at people that have put seat belts in the back of them, but you know us, we're probably just going to end up looking at it and figuring out which way we see the best to do this, and then going forward with it, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. We want these things to be safe, of course. I mean, that's literally their purpose, and we want them to be very functional and work very well. So that's what we're going to do this week, get some seat belts in the back seat of this thing, see if we can make it just a little safer for our passengers. So these are the bright red. They have dark red and bright red options for these. These are bright red, and I think they're going to match the interior pretty well, especially with that new carpet that we got cleaned up. So it's going to look really good, I think. Again, aviation style, so we got the latch that folds up like this, and then also locks in place like that. So that's what's going to be back here. There are 3 options on length. There's 60-inch belts, 75, and 90. These are the 75s. I think, best I can figure, these are going to be really good, especially, like I said, if we're going to put a car seat back here. You know how massive car seats are nowadays, so it should give us plenty of option to get him buckled up and cinch down really well. So that's going to be that. You guys have seen me pull the back seat out of this thing many times at this point, because I think this is maybe the 5th or 6th time I've pulled it out. So you guys don't get to watch me do that again because it looks ridiculous. But I'm gonna get back here, pull this rear seat out. The seat bottom, I think, is all I'm gonna pull out. I don't think we need to pull the top out, but if so, it's just 2 bolts. So we might do that as well to give ourselves a little bit more opening, drilling the holes that we need to in the floor. Alright, we started doing a little kind of inspecting, got the car jacked up, and what we're trying to figure out is the best place to bolt these. You guys saw one end of those has a flat on it with a hole through it, and then the mounting set comes with a giant washer that actually goes on the bottom of the car. So we got the back seat pulled out. I went ahead and did pull the back out to give us access, and we're thinking if we can go somewhere right about here with one side and that side as well. We can put the one side right there, and then that'll be a really good spot because we got good access to it under the car. It should be good. It's going to run up here and be laid up here on top of the seat. So that'll lay flat, and then you can see we've got those big washers over there. Those are going to go down on the bottom side of the car, and we just want to make sure that we've got a good open place that those are going to lay very nice and flat around the bottom of the car. And so we think this is the best place to start here on the outsides, and then we'll look into it a little bit more on the insides after that.
How far am I down? I can't see.
Keep going. So Dad's using the step bit there to gonna make sure we get a nice good round hole. We want that to be really tight on the bolt. That's good right there. Try that one. If you're drilling a hole and you want a really nice true round hole using those unibits or step bits, whatever you call them, those are the only way to get a very precise round hole. So that's what we're using, because we want that sheet metal to be really tight around that bolt to make sure there's no movement in it at all. All right, so now underneath the car here, you can see the bolt stuck through here. That's gonna give us plenty of room here to put this big washer here on the floor, and it's gonna lay very flat against the floor, and that's what we need to make sure that these things are reinforced and really good here so they don't pull out if anything ever happened. All right, for the center belts, what we decided on, if we use the washer for reference, we want that to lay as flat as it can there. That's what the washer will lay on the underside of the car, but it's gonna lay right there, and that's gonna work out really well. We went ahead and drilled the hole, and you can see, you can actually see how tight we drilled these. Like I said, we wanted to make sure that was really tight with the floor. You can see just how much, there's not much clearance on that bolt at all. That's pushed through there, and we've got easy access to it on the bottom to go ahead and mount this guy down. So we're gonna go ahead and drill the other one, drill that guy and this one, and we'll have all 4 of our holes drilled and ready to go. And then we can go ahead and mount up the seat belts how we want them. All right, what we're gonna do on the inside here, so what we have these 2 washers that I have here did not come with the kit, but we're gonna add these in here. We're gonna add a washer on the upper side of the belt tab. We're gonna add one on the lower side. The reason why is we're gonna mount this directly to the floor, and we don't want, whenever we tighten this up, we don't want this belt to be pinched between this and the floor itself. We want that to have at least a little bit of movement, so that big washer under, or that thick washer under there, spaces that guy up some, so to keep that from happening. So basically that's going to go through the floor like that. Then on the bottom we'll have the big washer directly against the floor. We're going to put another one of these big washers, one of these thick washers on the big washer, a lock washer that came with the kit, and then finally the nut that came with the kit. And we'll kind of do that, and that should have us way more than safe when it comes to all of this. So that's what we're thinking. We're going to get under here, bolt this guy down. Already got the hole drilled, all the other holes drilled here, so now it's just time to bolt these things down. I would say 95% of what we have done so far with all the retro manufacturing stuff has been exactly to the letter. This is one thing that we're going to change, and it's just for consistency inside the car. They say to mount the short side of the belt, which is this guy, the one without the latch, on the inside of the car, but for a couple reasons, mainly because the front seat that has seat belts has the latch on the inside and the short side on the outside. We're going to do the same thing back here. So what we'll do is I'm going to put, like I said, this guy, the buckle part is going to go on the outside of the car, and then the latch will go on the inside. I also like it for potential looks wise. If we're gonna go somewhere and no one's gonna be in the back seat, can really shorten that belt and kind of tuck it into the back seat a little bit, and you'll never even really notice them unless you're back here. But if you got back here and needed it, you could just extend it and buckle up. So I think for me personally, that's the way to do it. So that's what we're gonna do here for this. So let's get under here, get these bolted in, and we'll be ready to put the seat back in at that point. Now for the 2 centers, since we're gonna have a set of buckles in the center of the seat as well, how it's gonna end up being, we're gonna have the bolt with a washer on it. The mount, yeah, the mount here will go there, a washer between them, another mount, and then a washer, and those are going to go on through the floor like that right there. Basically, they'll end up setting something like that. Something like that is how we'll end up locking them down. And we've got both of those like that, alternated a little bit. And so this is technically a little narrow, but it's really kind of our only option here to kind of make sense of the space that we have. So technically a little narrow here on this, but it should still work just fine. So one last look here at the belts, how they're going to lay out. So you'll have short, buckle, short, buckle, buckle, short. So that's how they all lay down. Now I got to get under here, get all our stuff on the bottom side of it, and get these things bolted down. Alright, here's what the outside one looks like. So you can see that big washer there. It's pulled up tight. Got the lock washer on there as well. So everything should stay on there good. Now the ones in the center, see them there and there. Also completely flat. Should be really great. And then the one over there on that side looks exactly like that one over there. So bottom side, this turned out perfect. And then you can see the final placement of how these ended up here up top. Again, short side, buckle, short side, buckle, a second buckle, and then the last short side over there. So these guys are mounted up in place and should be exactly what we need now. The only thing we have left is throw the seat back in here and get it laid in here. The only thing I would say is on my side, I should have went with the dark red seat belts. The light red is just a little too light. It matches the paint really good, but the interior is just a little darker red. Maybe it's the age, I don't know what the difference is, but if I went with the dark reds, they'd have been dead on. But again, that's 100% on me. So let's go ahead and throw the seat back in here, get them laid out how we want to, and make sure they're gonna work. And just like that, this thing is back together with brand new seat belts in the back. And they turned out really, really good. I'm super happy with them. I think we probably would have been safe with going with the 60s instead of the 75s. I think these are quite a bit long, but I'd rather them be a little long and not have to worry about it than to have them a little too short. So I think these are going to work out really well. Like I said, we'll be able to put car seats and people and whatever else back here and take them with us to different places. Maybe if we go on Power Tour again sometime, maybe we can take this thing. But like I said, we'll put a pile of us in here. But these turned out really, really good. And right there you can see the forward-facing car seat will fit in here just perfect. So, I mean, honestly, that was the whole, I mean, not the whole reason, but a big part of why we were doing this. So now we can sit up front. Me and him can sit, or me and her can sit up front, and he can sit in the back. Everybody's riding in the Galaxie. And just like that, another week has come and gone. I know this one's probably a little bit of a short video this week, but I wanted to kind of talk you through, because we put seat belts in Dad's truck, and put a few seat belts in my C10 truck. But the C10 truck was just basically replacements. They just bolted right back in. The ones in Dad's, we built some standoffs and did that in a certain way. And I knew that we hadn't done a seatbelt install like this one on the channel before, so I thought it was worth it to go ahead and show you guys how that's done. Big thank you to Retro Belt and Retro Manufacturing for getting us those belts. They go with this car really well, and like I said, we'll be able to haul a bunch of people with us while we listen to our Retro Sound radio as well. So massive thank you to them for supporting us and helping us with this and making some improvements to the Galaxie. So we appreciate you guys so much for joining. As always, if you'd like this or if you learned something, hit subscribe. Hopefully next week we'll be able to keep going on and teach you guys something else. And then I think, if everything is right to me, I think the next video will be back on the 55. Finally, after multiple months now, we'll be back on that, working on it and moving forward on it and getting ready to go back to the racetrack in our quest for the fours. So thank you guys so much. Follow us on social media and don't forget Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you next week.